chopsticks and you suck at chopsticks. What do?
If you're truly horrible,
Ask for a fork. It's fine.
Yeah.
Just say, make a joke out of it. I'm from Bristol, Tennessee. We don't have things like this here. I don't know how to do it. Can you show me, or can I get a fork, or can I get a fork from somebody?
if you're truly awful with chopsticks, get a fork. But don't get chicken fingers. Don't get spaghetti unless you're really good. And this is not just a tip for dinner, but tips for the whole interview is that you need to act like this is the best thing that has ever happened and you are so excited. I mean, probably it is. Some people show more natural excitement than others, but you've got to amp it up if you appear naturally bored with things. Yes. Yes.
Okay, say you're getting interviewed and you all get an appetizer at the table and it's something you don't eat. And you're being interviewed and they say, Dr. Oh, try this, try this. Is it bad if you say like, oh, no thank you, like, I'm okay?
It depends on why you don't eat it.
Okay.
If it's a food allergy, if it's gluten insensitivity, yeah. If it's a religious thing. If you're Jewish and they've got a pork rind, surely not. But if you have a reason like that, if it's a California roll and you don't eat raw fish, that doesn't have raw fish. So if it's a thing that you don't eat that most people eat, you might want to just choke one down.
Unless it's a chicken finger.
If they're ordering chicken fingers for the table, I would be kind of shocked. But if they've got chicken fingers for the whole table, you can go ahead and eat it. You can eat it. Any questions that you have, just blurt out as we go. If you're nervous about dinners, they have these wonderful Feast Without Fear dinner times
It's on
to
your
practice. On your schedule, yes. You get some nice food, you get practice feasting without fear. Okay, so when you get to the individual interviews with professors, or you could have this scenario anytime you have an interview with multiple people, they don't care if they're your seventh interviewer. You got to be ready for all of them. And, okay, this is some pretend picture that I got. If you're going to interview with research professors, some of them will not be this normal. Some of them are just weird. And when I interviewed for graduate school, there are some of the more brilliant ones are also really weird. If they come in late, if they don't look at you, if they act disinterested, it may not be you. They may just be weird. You have to just go right on and act like they're not. So if they're looking at, this happened to me, if they're looking out the window while they're talking to you, that's okay. That's Carl Bauer. He can look out the window if he wants to. He can do whatever he wants. He's Carl Bauer. If they forget that they had an interview with you and if you only get half of the time, that's fine. You just go right on. It's not a reflection on you.
And if it is the weird professor, and you haven't had dinner with the graduate students yet, it is not a good idea for the first comment out of your mouth at dinner to be, you know that really weird guy, did you all interview with him too? No, these people are going to go back and they're going to say, even if they think, it's kind of like, you can pick on your brother or sister, but nobody else better pick on your brother or sister. Same thing. Don't talk about the weird person in the interview.
And sometimes before you go there, you should at least read about the professors if you've got their names in advance. And so maybe you would know that Carl Bauer is already a fellow of the National Academy, and he was one of the major discoverers of bacterial photosynthesis, which I did not. And I thought, man, this Carl Bauer's a jerk. He is. He's brilliant. Wasn't me. That's just how he acted. So,
Lauren,
yes.
and also don't go back and post on Facebook
Yes.
that this is the worst professor,
Yes.
weird guy.
Yes. That's different now. That's different. So each time that you go in, sometimes these will be 15 minutes with each professor. Sometimes it'll be half an hour. You guys start over every time. The first one's easy. You're all excited. You're energetic. The 7th one is hard. If you've got 7 or if you've got 10. And the ones at the end, you happen to not be interested in their topic, you still got to act like this is the best exciting thing that's ever happened to you and you're honored to be in their presence. You still got to do that. Keep your energy up. If you can get their names in advance, sometimes you will, sometimes you won't. But even if you don't, you know what program you're going to. Most good schools have a website that say Professor X works on topic Y. And you should study that, like it's kind of your job to study that, so that you can have something to talk about with them before you go. A lot of times when you're doing these professor interviews, they will talk about themselves and their research more than asking you a lot of questions because they're trying to convince you to come there. So if you can listen to what they're saying and comprehend it and ask them a question about it, they're really flattered by that and it shows you in a good light. If you can listen to what they're saying and formulate a question about it that also shows something that you learned in school, that's double bonus. So pay attention to what they're saying, ask them questions, show interest in their work even if you think there's no way I would ever come and work in your lab if I came to this school. Don't say that you're not interested. Say, oh, tell me more about rhabdoviruses. I don't know much about that. Because you may get interested later. And they may be the most critical person on the admissions committee and you don't know it. So every time that you get up and leave, be really happy, thank them so much, shake their hand well. Didn't realize how irritating that is until she did it wrong. Do you know why she did it wrong? Like this little end grab, don't do that. Do the whole thing. Practice if you need to. Thank them when you leave. Okay, questions. There are certain questions that no matter what the interview is, you need to prepare for it and you need to write down answers or at least think about what you would say. And so Brooke has an interview this week. She has practiced these questions. You want to come up and practice up here? I might ask you. Wes also has an interview this week. Have you practiced these questions?
No, but he needs to anyway. Yeah.
So Brooke said, I hate this question. Tell me about yourself. There is an implication in this question that continues but is not written. Tell me about yourself in relation to this position. They don't care if you're the biggest Lord of the Rings fan. They don't so much care if you're the leading 3-point guy like Logan Lyle, because that does not probably relate to the job he's applying for. When they say, tell me about yourself, they want to know stuff about you that relates to this position or to doing grad school. So Brooke, what are you going to lead off with in this question?
I'm a diligent and very curious person. I love learning about new topics and things that I've never heard about before, which is why I love science in general.
Okay, people that know her, is she lying?
No.
Mm-mm.
Nope.
All of that is true. You don't want to lie about yourself. You want to say things about yourself that are good and that are true and that relate to the position. What are you going to say if they ask you, like, what do you like to do for hobbies and stuff?
I like to read a lot from different genres. I like to volunteer. I do quite a bit of volunteer work at my local library. I still live at home, and I still do that whenever I'm back at home for breaks.
So that's good too, but she wouldn't lead off with that as the very first thing that she says about herself. Because if she led off with, I really like to read and I love to volunteer at the library, and that's the first thing that you say, they're going to think, well, why don't you go apply for MLS? What are you doing here? They want to know what about yourself makes you good for this job. So you want to say what you're like professionally and how you got that way. You want to keep this overall short. Like, don't really go on for more than a minute on this. They don't want to hear your whole life story. You don't have to bring up hobbies and free time stuff unless they ask you separately. Or you can tack it on at the end of your 1 minute. Okay, the second most important question, or this might be the most important question, why do you want to do this? Especially for graduate and professional school. If you're going to graduate school in the hard sciences, they're going to pay you through some means to come there. They're going to spend 5 years with you, spend 5 years of tuition and support on you. So they want to know, are you motivated to do this? Are you committed to do this? You need to have a good answer. Why do you want to do this? Not because you like science. Not because I just always wanted to go to graduate school. That's not an answer. What's your motivation? If you're going into professional school like medical, dental, pharmacy, and so on, they're not going to pay you, but they've got 200 others like you that might want it more, and they're sure will not drop out after a year. So you got to demonstrate commitment and passion. Here's some other questions that you should prepare for. What is your previous experience? If you don't have any previous experience, how do you know you want to do that thing? So your previous experience, that's the stuff that's going to be in your CV. And the things that you're applying for this summer would be experience. How did you get interested in doing this in the first place? What made you decide that you want to study plant microbe interactions? I actually had a good reason. It made sense why I want to study plant microbe interactions. What are your strengths and weaknesses? If you don't know this, if you don't know what you're like, and you don't know what your strengths and weaknesses are, your professors do. Especially if we've taught you a lot. We can tell you what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, what are the good things that you should put out there to say what you like. Strengths, you know, those are easy. Weaknesses, if you say a weakness, it needs to be a realistic weakness, not like I care too much and I work too hard and I burn out. What are some other ones that people, I'm such a perfectionist. So my particular weakness, and then if you say your weakness, you have to say how you're fixing it, how you work on it. Mine is I don't like to ask people for help, so I occasionally waste a ton of time when I could just say, hey, so-and-so, can you help me with this? And it would take 5 minutes versus 2 hours for me trying to find whatever. And then I would say, I'm working on that, and, you know, I make myself just keep picking up the phone and calling people and make myself ask, and it gets easier over time, which is all true. So whatever your weakness is, you need to say what it is, and it's realistic, and how you're fixing it. Don't say lazy. Don't say lazy. Don't say that. Okay. So sometimes on these graduate school interviews, they might interview you in groups, or the dinners are sometimes sort of a group interview. And if you're in a group interview and you are an introvert, you have to work twice as hard as everybody else. Don't be the quietest. Don't sit there and say nothing. That is like the worst thing you can do in a group interview probably is just to say nothing and not make any impression. Also, don't dominate the conversation. I don't know if we have any conversation dominators. Maybe not. There are some of those people out there. I'll just say, I'm thinking about Royce. He's the worst I've ever seen. I mean, okay, none of you are like that. But Royce is in graduate school now. He overcame. Maybe he would say that was his weakness. He's overcome. When you're in a group interview, and also when you're hanging out on the vans, in the hall, in the conference room, be friendly with the other prospective students. Some of this interviewing is to see, are you a fairly normal person who can get along with people and not a real weirdo? You need to show that you can get along with people, show interest, ask questions. If you're not in your phone all the time, you're interacting with people and showing that you can interact with people. Pay attention. Look at people, not at your phone. Okay, I forgot that I had that again. Don't check your watch or your phone too much. This is a bad habit of Dr. Han Ong. He's a visible watch checker. Partly because he has poor peripheral vision, but he'll be like. These guys are almost done. I'm running away. He knows it. I've told him before. So speeding up here. Okay, look at these people. Look at these people in the group interview. Who would you hire?
Not the woman.
To me, they all look bored except for these two guys right here.
Yeah.
It's a little bit blurry.
It is.
Don't look bored. If you have a naturally bored face, you need to smile it up.
If you have to sit on a couch like that, perch on the edge.
Yes.
Sit at the edge like this, or however guys are supposed to sit.
Yeah.
I don't know how guys are supposed to sit.
See how this guy's like leaning away?
Don't do this. Don't sprawl.
Don't sprawl.
Don't slouch.
Yeah. Okay, what to wear? What to wear. When you're going for Science Graduate School's interview, suits are a little bit overkill. If you're going to interview for a job, yes, wear a suit. Suits can be a little bit overkill for Science Graduate School. This is actually pretty okay for a Science Graduate School interview. He's got dark pants, he's got reasonable shoes that aren't tennis shoes, he's got a dress shirt. I would suggest a tie. I know you can't read this. This guy's suit is too tight. This guy is untucked. This guy's fine, but that's a little bit overdoing it for Science Graduate School interview.
Except for med school and professional schools, then
Then you really,
Black suits or charcoal suits, and definitely guys wear a tie.
and women black skirt suit with pearls
For med school.
for med
for
school.
med school.
Not for grad school.
Yeah. If you're not sure about this stuff, ask your advisor. I like to say, show me a picture of what you're going to wear, and then I'll tell you. Okay, for women, suits are okay. This is also okay for Science Graduate School interview. This is too casual. Don't do cropped stuff. Don't do short sleeve. Don't be too colorful and ginormous jewelry. Okay. This is okay, almost any situation. This is okay for Science Graduate School. I would put a little bit more jewelry and wear longer pants. This is overkill for Science Graduate School. This is good. Again, if you have questions, ask your advisor. This can be okay for Science Graduate School, not for med school, but she looks professional. She's covered up. You want to look about 30. You don't want to be latest trend. You don't want to be short dress, ginormous statement necklace. You want to look about 30 and serious. Okay. So clothes. Guys, you need dress pants, a shirt and tie in any case. Women, if you want to wear a dress, it needs to not be a young dress. It needs to be a boring dress. It needs to be a 30-year-old people's dress. It needs to be down to your knees. It needs to be about up here. If in doubt about your dress, just show it to us and we'll say yeah, or some jewelry is fine. Your hair is always good no matter what you do.
Me?
Yes.
Mine is good, sorry.
I mean, any day. I'm just thinking, any day. Because when I say hair understated, I went to interviews with my hair like this, because this is who I am. But I've also never interviewed for a super serious conservative job. But generally,
I put my hair in a bun, usually when I'm interviewing, or up in a French twist, because if I leave it down, I'll sit and
Mess
pick
with
at it and mess with it. So if that's one of your habits, put your hair up away so that you won't.
Can I also contribute to say that you have gotten yourself this far to secure an interview? Spending a little bit of money to get some nice clothes. If your clothes are nice, but they're kind of worn deck else also, because the color's a little faded and stuff. You may be dressed nice, but, you know, effort means something. So go to a nice store. I mean, it doesn't have to be an expensive store. Go to a nice store. I'm pretty sure those guys and gals there have already heard of people say, I'm going to an interview, what should I wear? And they can help, right? Consult your friends. The second part of it is, don't dress beyond your age. You guys are young, you are youthful, you're supposed to show energy and everything like that. Don't borrow your grandfather's top. Get your own top. Go buy a nice contemporary, nice top. Don't borrow your mom's scarf. You should wear your scarf. Something.
Or your friends.
Or your
You can
friends'
borrow
scarf.
from each other.
Yeah. Just don't dress as if you're older. I mean, I've interviewed even faculty sometimes that straight out of graduate school, let's say 29, 30 years old, but they dress as if they're 48. You don't have to do that. I mean, for an interview, you don't have to dress old. You can dress contemporary, young, fresh, whatever it is. That's who you guys are. So
30 years old.
What's that?
They should dress like they're 30. That's my advice. Since you're not going to be looking at your phone, you need to wear a watch, but don't look at it too much. You also need to bring stuff to take notes. That's a good thing to do with your hands. If you're a fidgeter, some people are, if you take a few notes, don't use it as a crutch to never look at the person and keep writing notes, but you can have a pen in your hand, you've got notes, you've got something to do with your hands. And it gives you a break from constant eye contact that can be draining. Shoes. You know what I hate at graduation? When women are graduating and they're stumbling across the stage in shoes they can't walk in. Don't. Don't. If you can't walk like a boss in your shoes, they are wrong. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to sort of be teetering around in your shoes. Watch at graduation, you'll see them. Barely making it.
Those
Where's
people
your
are seniors now, will call you out.
I'm gonna yell, walk like a boss. If you don't know if your outfit is right, just check with us. We'll tell you whether it's right. And you should use your seminar outfit. Like Brooke said, she's gonna wear her seminar outfit. And I thought, I don't remember it bad or good, so it's probably fine. Okay. Before we go, anytime that you have a statement due, an interview to prepare for, we want to help. We are there to help. I think most of us would pretty much drop whatever else we're doing and help you with this stuff, even if it's a day before. We want to help. You guys are our ambassadors for our programs. Anytime you get a placement in a job or a school, it's a connection we have for future graduates. This is important. So ask us, practice, go see Career Center, ask for practice interviews. This is like one of the best things we like to do is help you prepare for this stuff. Ask us. Get ready. So good luck to this week's interviewees. Wes and Brooke, you know it all now. You can do great.